Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question, so let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files.
For years, the Epstein files have lived in that dangerous zone where politics, secrecy, and public distrust collide. But this hearing turned that long-simmering suspicion into open warfare. Congressman after congressman had already been pressing FBI Director Kash Patel. Then Pramila Jayapal stepped in and forced the fight onto the most explosive ground possible. Patel's own past promises, the credibility of Epstein survivors, and the question hanging over Washington, why did the tone suddenly change once the FBI and DOJ said they had reviewed everything? This was no longer just about what was in the files. It was about whether the public was watching a transparency promise collapse in real time, under oath, in front of cameras.
Questions recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information, we're gonna give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question, so let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information, and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appeared to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all investigative leads. Is the answer yes or no
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the stats. And you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk about cover-ups.
And I will take as much time as I
Where
want.
were you during the Obama and Biden administrations when these so-called cover-ups were going on? Why didn't anyone in those administrations talk to any of these purported witnesses? I have
some regular order,
every single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington. Washington.
And I'm
but
going
when
to take
when
another
you
couple
accuse
of
the
minutes.
witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works. You say
Listen,
something,
he didn't
you
even,
say
excuse me,
he's allowed to
Mr. Chairman, you have
respond.
always
of
been
order.
fair, but
I'm-
this
and
is
I'm
not
being
fair.
fair, and you will get
No,
your-
this
you will
is
get your
my
time.
time, and he
You will give the
said
gentlelady
that the
a few
witnesses
additional
were not credible.
seconds of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because that's
you'll
how
get
much time
you
he
won't get a
took.
minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand how
Mr.
much time you
Patel.
get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel, are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm
Are
commenting
they
on the
credible?
evidence we have.
But
And we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at
Mr.
it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and
Patel,
Obama Justice Departments
Mr.
had.
Patel,
And they
this is
determined, not
new.
me, they determined
Mr.
that that
Chairman,
information was not
Mr.
credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You
This is
ask the
ridiculous.
questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says,
No,
but that
I'm
doesn't mean you get to
asking, he's not
interrupt
answering
him.
my question.
Mr. Chairman,
have
could we
an-
restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she
We
can
will
complete
give her
her
additional
question?
30 seconds, which is what I said
I'm
earlier.
going to keep taking my time because
you'll take
here's
the
the
time
thing.
that you get. You get
are
30
not
seconds.
answering the question. The question
I
is,
have, you just don't like the answer.
Are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well,
and I
what is
keep
the
telling
answer?
you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this
Okay.
case. This
You're not-
administration is the only one that has welcomed any new information in this
Is there
case.
a yes or no to whether
Present
the
new
victims
credible
are
information.
credible?
Present new
Are
information.
the victims credible
The victims-
or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump
Are they
administration.
credible or not? You can't even
Victims
say.
credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of
President
Jeffrey
Trump
Epstein.
called
Not
them
Biden,
a hoax.
not Obama.
President Trump
no one
called
else.
the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask
The
you
gentlelady's
if
time has
you
expired.
will
I gave her
meet-
the additional
if
45
you-
seconds she
if you
requested.
will
The
meet-
gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from
Mr.
New
Chairman,
Jersey is
I would like
recognized
to
for his
ask if
5
you would
minutes.
meet with the women who were sexually
Time does not belong-
abused and raped and groomed
Time does
at
not
the
belong
ages
to the
of
gentlelady from
14
Washington.
and
The time now
16 years
belongs-
old. Are
the
you
time-
going to cover up?
No, I'm
Are
not
you
gonna-
going to continue
I'm gonna
to
recognize
cover
the
up
gentleman
for
from
the
New Jersey
rich
for
and
his 5 minutes.
powerful men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell
Or
too,
are
Mr.
you
Chairman,
going
but I don't wanna
to
yell
allow
above
them
this.
to
The time
testify?
belongs to the gentleman from New Jersey. I
Are you
appreciate the
going to allow
gentlelady
them to
yielding
testify,
back.
Mr. Patel?
Go ahead.
Will
Mr.
you
Angelo.
allow them to testify to you, Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, thank you for being here. I know it's been an interesting and difficult 2 days. And I wasn't going to talk about the Epstein thing because there's a lot of other issues that affect the FBI, but I have to say a few words. I've sat.
This is where the story stops being a routine Washington shouting match and starts becoming a legitimacy crisis. Because once the debate becomes who was protected, who was exposed, and who was ignored, the government's problem is no longer just transparency. It is credibility. Jayapal's broader argument, echoed in her separate clash with Pam Bondi, is that the system redacted powerful figures while failing to protect survivors the way it should have. Whether one agrees with every accusation or not, that charge is politically lethal because it flips the moral frame of the story. Suddenly, this isn't about controlling conspiracy theories. It's about whether institutions that promised accountability ended up deepening distrust, while the people with the least power were once again told to wait. And that is why this hearing hits so hard. Patel tried to argue process. Jayapal argued trust. Patel leaned on what the FBI says it found. Jayapal leaned on what he himself once promised the public. Patel said, "Bring new credible information." Jayapal asked why survivors and the public should still believe the gatekeepers when the gate keeps moving. Even the official hearing record now includes the July FBI memo and the Wall Street Journal reporting submitted for the record, which tells you this was not some fringe internet sideshow. It entered the institutional bloodstream. The larger question isn't just what is in the Epstein files. It's whether the people in charge of them can still convince the public they are telling the full truth. In the end, this was not a clean victory for anyone on that hearing room floor. Jayapal succeeded in crystallizing the central contradiction. A government that promised openness, but delivered another wall of caution and controlled disclosure. Patel, for his part, stood by the official line that the review was exhaustive, that no incriminating client list was found, and that the evidence did not justify further release. But hearings like this are remembered less for legal phrasing than for the moments that feel morally unresolved. And the image that lingers is simple: a lawmaker asking whether women who say they were abused are credible, and an FBI director refusing to answer in the direct terms the country expected. That is why this clash won't disappear when the gavel drops. It goes to the core of whether the Epstein story is being closed or contained.